Have you ever wondered what it would be like to stand on the very ground where ancient biblical history unfolded? Imagine uncovering an artifact mentioned in the Bible, knowing that thousands of years ago, people saw it as sacred. Today, we're diving into a discovery so remarkable it bridges the gap between ancient scripture and modern archaeology. This is the story of a stone mentioned in the Bible, unearthed after centuries of being hidden away, forgotten by time. Until now. In the heart of the Promised Land, just 35 miles north of Jerusalem, lie two towering mountains, Mount Gerizim to the south and Mount Ebal to the north. These mountains hold significant importance in biblical history. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, Moses instructs the Israelites on what to do upon entering the land of Canaan. 6 tribes were to stand on Mount Gerizim to bless the people, while 6 others were to stand on Mount Ebal to pronounce curses. This momentous event is later recorded in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, during the covenant renewal at Shechem, where Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel. Shechem, nestled in the valley between Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, is an ancient city with a long and storied history. Its ruins, known locally as Tel Balata, were first excavated by German archaeologists in 1913. Under the leadership of Ernst Cellen, they began unearthing sections of the city wall, and in 1926, they made a discovery that would echo through the halls of biblical archaeology. Among the ruins, Cellen uncovered what he initially thought was a simple water trough, carved out of a massive rock. But as he continued to dig, he unearthed something far more intriguing. A large stone, not just any stone, but a monolith that seemed to have a deeper significance. This stone was broken, its original height lost to the ages, but it was clear that it had once been a sacred standing stone, known in Hebrew as a masabah. Sacred standing stones, or masabahs, were often set up in ancient Canaanite cities and served religious or commemorative purposes. The stone at Shechem, however, was different. It was found alongside a massive stone base with a slot carved into it. At first, Cellen thought this slot might have been used to hold water, but the shape didn't seem quite right. It wasn't until he and his team placed the standing stone into the slot that everything clicked into place. This wasn't just a stone, and this wasn't just a trough. These were the foundational bases for sacred stones, designed to keep them upright. Cellen's discovery didn't end there. As he continued to excavate, he found more of these stone bases, leading him to reassess his earlier interpretations. By lifting the largest sacred stone and fitting it perfectly into one of these bases, Cellen confirmed that what he had found was a critical part of an ancient Canaanite ritual complex. But there was more. In front of this massive stone, Cellen unearthed the remains of an altar, covered in the bones of sacrificed animals. Beyond the altar lay the entrance to a monumental building, which Cellen identified as a temple. This temple was unlike any other. Its walls were incredibly thick, about 17 feet wide in some places, leading scholars to believe that it was a multi-storied structure, possibly as tall as 4 stories. This led to the temple being referred to as a fortress temple, or a tower temple. The sheer size of the walls suggested that the building served a dual purpose, as a place of worship and as a defensive structure. However, the story takes a dramatic turn with the conflict between Cellen and his colleague, Dr. Gabriel Welter, who was also part of the German excavation team. Welter vehemently disagreed with Cellen's interpretation that this was a sacred stone and temple mentioned in the Bible. In an attempt to assert his authority, Welter went as far as to remove the sacred stones from their sockets and throw them down a slope, damaging them further. This act of destruction was witnessed by the renowned American archaeologist W.F. Albright, who later recounted the incident with dismay. Albright was in Palestine at the time and saw the stone after it had been thrown into the neighboring trench, noting that it had been broken further in the process. The stone that Cellen had carefully excavated, which might have been the very stone mentioned in the Bible, was now in pieces, its historical significance nearly lost. But the story doesn't end there. Decades later, in 1956, a new excavation began at Shechem, led by the biblical archaeologist G. Ernest Wright. Wright and his team, known as the Drew McCormick Expedition, re-examined Cellen's findings and agreed with his original interpretation. They identified the temple as the one mentioned in the Book of Judges, chapters 8 and 9. dating it to the 12th century BC, the same period as the events described in those chapters. Wright also believed that the sacred standing stone, referred to as Masaba Vorwan by his team, was indeed the same stone mentioned in the Bible. His colleagues, Edward Campbell and James Ross, went a step further, suggesting that this stone might even be the very stone Joshua set up under the oak near the holy place of the Lord, as described in Joshua 24. This stone, they argued, served as a witness to the covenant between the Israelites and Yahweh. The significance of this stone cannot be overstated. It wasn't just any standing stone. It was a physical representation of the covenant between God and his people. The book of Joshua tells us that after the Israelites pledged their loyalty to Yahweh, Joshua set up a large stone under an oak tree as a witness to their agreement. This stone, plastered and inscribed with the laws of the covenant, served as a reminder to future generations of their commitment to God. In Deuteronomy 27, Moses commands the Israelites to set up large stones and plaster them with plaster, writing on them all the words of the law when they cross into the Promised Land. The stone found at Shechem fits this description perfectly. Although it was broken, the remaining portion shows intricate carvings, smoothed surfaces and traces of plaster, suggesting that it was indeed inscribed with the laws of the covenant. The story of Shechem and its sacred stone is a powerful example of how archaeology can illuminate the Bible's historical accuracy. Without the biblical text, the ruins at Shechem might have remained just another ancient site, their significance lost to history. But with the Bible as our guide, these stones come to life, telling a story of faith, betrayal, and the enduring covenant between God and his people. As we stand here today, gazing at the remains of this ancient stone, we are reminded of the importance of preserving history. Despite the damage done by Welter, the stone was eventually recovered and placed back in its original location by G. Ernest Wright and his team. Today, it stands as a testament to the enduring power of the Bible and its ability to connect us with the past. This sacred stone, though broken, symbolizes the broken covenant of the Israelites. It serves as a reminder that while we may falter and break our promises, there is always hope for restoration. And in the New Testament, we see this restoration fulfilled through the life and sacrifice of Jesus Christ, who came to heal the broken and restore our relationship with God. If you've enjoyed this journey through history and archaeology, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more fascinating stories from the ancient world. Don't forget to check the links in the description for resources where you can dive deeper into biblical archaeology or even support our work with a donation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Historical Highway.